I just feel really supported. And that's from the top all the way through the school system. It's grown. I just know that if I recommend the school to someone, I know they're going to get the same care we do.
I'm Agnes Stowicki, Managing Editor with Our Kids. We're speaking with insiders from Canada's leading private and independent schools to bring you insights into school programs, culture, traditions, and leadership. This includes insights from parents, alumni, and administration. This is the Our Kids Insider Perspective.
We had planned to attend a different school, and for a variety of reasons, it just didn't come together at the last minute. So we tried to move schools, that didn't work out, and then they referred us to North Point. And we also checked out a few other private schools, but it was late in the game. There wasn't a lot of availability. And this school, North Point at the time, was brand new. So and we did a shadow day there, and they were so great. Brent DeVoe is the head of the school. He was the principal at the time. The school's grown quite a bit since then, but he took us in and listened to our heartache around what to do, and we're willing to take him in even though the school year had started. So we did the shadow day at the school, and our son just really loved it there. And it felt like a fit in terms of the location for us, and just the kindness, which we desperately needed at the time. So very grateful that we were able to go there, and we've been there ever since. And so now my son's in grade 10. So we've been there 6 years, and the very first year, so the school was only in its second year. There were 9 kids the first year, and the year our son joined, there were 40 kids, and so it had grown exponentially over that summer. And I was so grateful because he was safe there. He had a place. Brent DeVoe, the principal, he was totally he still has an open door policy, and the kids could just go down and sit in his office and kind of talk to him if they just needed to step out of the classroom. The class was small. It wasn't like there were more than 10 or 15 kids. I don't even remember, but he could leave and go down and talk to the principal if he just was feeling anxious. But the teachers really were supportive. They were really great role models. Like I said, at the time, it was all boys school. So I was really grateful. My husband and I were grateful that there was some really strong male role models, good men doing good things in the world and behaving in a way that was kind and masculine and fun. And the activities, the school is very active. So meaning they had lots of activities outside school and they could move around, and that seemed to just really work well for our son. I feel that he most appreciates the support he gets from his teachers. He likes all the out of school activities that go along with it, but he started at the school with some significant learning challenges, and now he's an honor student. And that is because he was very patiently attended to over time with the right tools, with the right teachers, at the right, he's learned to advocate for himself, to ask for what he needs. If he's struggling with something, he's safe to put his hand up or go and ask for help. And that's been consistent since day one. Different teachers over the years, but constantly a space where he can be where he's at and and be able to ask for what he needs. And then he's learned, and his grades are now honors. He won honors awards back in grade 7 or 8, which was like, really, wow. We never dreamed that that could be possible, and he's rocking it. Well, I feel that for us, it's similar in that the staff, for me, the responsiveness to our concerns, if we ever have any, we're just treated with a ton of compassion and care, and realism, but the teachers always have our back too. I feel like our whole family is being held by the school. And I'm really grateful for that. With every kid, there's ups and downs, and there's good days and difficult days. And I always feel like I could reach out if I need to, and someone will listen to me. And they are willing to give us honest feedback about what's working and what isn't, and making changes. And I just feel really supported. And that's from the top all the way through the school system. It's grown. Now there's, I don't know how many students there, maybe 180. I don't know exactly, but I just know that if I recommend the school to someone, I know they're going to get the same care we do. And they just see my son for who he is, his gifts and his challenges, and they work with him at that level. And I think they are really in working with us to bring the best of his qualities out. They have their 5 R's, and that are their values. And I'm like, okay, what are they now? Resourceful, relentless, responsible, resilient, and respectful. That was the last one. So those 5 values are what everybody comes into the school. And so obviously through the pandemic, all of those things were required. And what I was delighted by was how quickly they were able to transition to an online environment. And in fact, as much as my son missed his friends at school and all of that, his education was as good, or, it was just as good. He did really well in that space and was very well contained. And they were really creative with some of the things they came up with. For online active Fridays, we were getting meal kits, and they were cooking on Zoom and stuff like that, kind of fun projects. And I really felt the presence of the teachers there for us through that time. I love that they get outside. I love that there's an outdoor education program. That's one of my son's favorite things. They get to the mountains they have a mountain day every year, and look for ways for the school community to continue to get together and share their celebrations. And when things go off the rails for whatever reasons, there's always going to be people or kids that aren't a great fit for whatever reason, and that gets dealt with in respectful ways, I feel. Anyway, I feel like there's always an open door, and flexibility and willingness to listen. And so all those values kind of come together. I feel respected. I know that my son feels respected by the staff and the teachers. And if he isn't feeling respected by his peers, there's avenues we can work with. And at the same time, they encourage him to speak for himself and to grow. So I feel like we have a good human in development, and it's not just on us at home. When I first came to the school, because it was a new school, and because typically when people end up at a private school, they're wanting there's a reason, it's especially one now, it's also, North Point has sort of evolved into a school that does support kids with learning differences. And it wasn't necessarily officially that way when it began, but no surprise that a lot of the kids that attend there have reasons that they're there. It's not working at a public school. I don't think anybody really wants to pay for an education when there's a one that you that they, I mean, some people do, but we needed extra help. We were in search of something more than what our son was getting and needed at a public school. And it just wasn't available here. And so I suspect that a lot of families are looking for solutions to problems, and they want a safe place for their kids to be themselves and to learn. And they want to know that their son or daughter is going to get the best education they can for the best future they might want in the future. And none of us know who they're going to turn out to be, but we want to know they're going to have as many options as possible, and that the education that we can provide for them is going to give them those options. And I really feel that has transpired for us, especially now that he's in high school and looking at what he wants to do with the rest of his, the rest of his life, but the next stage of his life beyond high school. They're really working with him to identify those strengths and what does he need to do and what credits does he need and courses does he need to get there, and so forth. And I've been really delighted by that. So I think parents are looking for solutions. They're looking for a safe space. They're looking for respect, a safe place for their kids, and a quality education that allows them to be who they are. He's proud of lots of things. I think one of the things they do, he was just talking a few moments ago about doing a passion project. So they have to do a presentation on something they're really interested in, and it can be like the possibilities are endless. So he loves just doing them when he has nothing to do. He's on spring break and we are having a quiet day, and he's just decided, I'm going to do a passion project. So the idea that he has permission to explore the things that interest him and talk about that. And then they have a business fair every year, so a young entrepreneurs fair. And so that's been part of the environment or the curriculum since day one, is financial literacy. And the best part of that, in my view, is learning how to create, market, and sell a product or a service. And so every year we've come up with little ideas and sold them, and always come away at the end of that day going, wow, that was really fun, and it was scary, and it was great. And I don't know, that's been good. And I think, so that's been kind of a unique thing. And right now he is, I think, really proud of his grades. Yeah. And his academic achievement. And it's not easy, but he's, I think he really, really likes school, like really likes learning. And I think, when you talk to most kids in grade 10, I'm sure lots of them do, but not when it was a big struggle at one time. I just think he really loves learning and achieving. We were struggling at the beginning. We had a sudden change of direction thrust upon us, and it was something in retrospect I just grateful for, because we landed at the right school for us, and compassionate and aware of the, not, like I said earlier, not everybody, it comes to a private school, especially one with learning differences, because life is awesome. It isn't. It's really hard to be a parent of kids with whose brains don't work the same way that the rest of the school system teaches for. Like, they're just not average kids. They're brilliant. And it's a struggle to know that they can be part of a mainstream culture in a school, and that the administrators understand that and know that parents are looking for a safe place for themselves and for their kids. So that has been my experience from day one till, here we are 6-7 years later, and that's still the case. That has been consistent. All the marketing staff and the front office, Dave Jackson, has been there's just kind and clear communication. And if I have a question, the answers just come back. Like, there's no waiting around. It's like, wow, 5 minutes later, I get what I need. So that's another big surprise. So often in this world, you just don't know if you're going to get a human on the other end, and you do get a human at the other end often. And it's top to bottom with all of the staff. I'm so grateful. I feel, like I said, it's a safe space for someone who's got neurodivergence in their life and needs some support for their child to flourish and become the best version of themselves they can become under those circumstances, and give them so many more options than they would have had left to their own devices. I just really wish everybody could have access to that. I'm a big fan of public education and what it stands for, but it's not always something that can take care of these kids. And so I'm very grateful that my son has found a home, an educational home. And another reason is just, I think that they have found a balance between being down to earth. Like, there's some very, very expensive, and the lifestyle around it is that's not how it is at North Point. There's like the school uniforms are things that we would all wear comfortably, a nice comfy t-shirt, you know what I mean? It doesn't exclude anybody. It's very inclusive, and without having to be super fancy, if that makes any sense. But I love that. I love it's casual and form, and there's cohesiveness. And again, just the teachers and the staff and the care and the one-to-one support and the teaching around advocating kids being able to ask for what they need, and knowing that if they ask, they'll get it. And sometimes they'll get it even if they don't ask. But yeah, they really do work hard to make sure everybody succeeds. I think it's a great idea to talk to someone, ask for another parent to talk to. I've done that for a few families at North Point, and I'm glad I've been able to do that, because I've been able to dispel some misconceptions, like that whole thing, because there's a hockey program, that the whole school might be perceived as something that's sports obsessed, and kids that aren't athletic would be left out, for example. That just isn't how it is. I'm glad I was able to just wave that one off, for example. So and put someone's mind at ease around, just clarity. Because I think that every school that you're going to talk to, they want your son or daughter to come to that school. I mean, it's a business on a certain level, and so you might think you're being sold on certain things, and is it true? And so the only way to really test that is to talk to some other families. I'm pretty honest too, and I think it's important to get another parent's perspective. Also, the shadow day thing, I think, is a really good idea, because not every school is for every kid, and I think different personalities need different places. And so I think that those are really wise things if it's offered, and ask a lot of questions.
For more information about this school, you can visit their profile at ourkids.net.